have devoted your life to living these experiences, and it's a noble cause, but one that I can imagine takes quite a deep psychological and emotional toll. So what do you do to keep yourself strong? And when you have one of these days where you just feel like you can't take this all on anymore, what do you tell yourself to keep going?
Well, I know for sure that it is not one person's job to do this, and I know that I'm like, I can't send all girls to school. It would be nearly impossible. But what I can do is I can send as many as possible. I can speak about for as many as possible, and what is under my potential, I will do that. I will do my job. But what I also try to do is to reach out to as many people as I can, whether they are from the business sector, from the government, from the NGO sector, to encourage them to invest in girls' education. And I think it's just reminding everyone that they can also have a role in this, whether it's media, whether it's business or governments, that they all can play a role in this. And it's a responsibility that we all should realize, that we can all participate in this and we can all contribute to this. So it can be stressful sometimes, and because you want to change the world in a day and you realize you can't. But as you keep on going, and like 5 years when I started Malala Fund, I just did not know what to do, and I said I want all girls to go to school, but how to get them in school. And now, looking back 5 years, we have done projects in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Lebanon, in Jordan. We are expanding to Mexico. We have done work in India. We have done film campaigning. We are empowering local leaders and local advocates, which we call the Gul Makai Network. We named it Gul Makai because this was the pen name that I was using for my BBC blog. And we are introducing girl advocate programs. So things are happening, and more girls are speaking out for themselves, and we are encouraging local advocates to bring change in their community. So I do see change, and I am hopeful, I am positive.
So I asked Twitter what questions I should ask you, and there was one that came back over and over and over again. And people are really curious to know where you draw your inspiration from, and particularly which books you are into.
I really like reading stories of women and girls, and one book that is always my favorite was The Alchemist, and it was just staying true to your goals and try to keep on moving, even though you may face many difficulties in your way, but you have to keep on moving. And that is something that I'm doing. I just keep on moving. But also I read a story about Meena, which was an Afghan hero, and it was an inspirational book of how this woman struggled for women's rights and equality. And Parwana's journey and The Breadwinner. So I really like reading about girls' stories who have overcome challenges in their lives and who have fought for their rights.
You are such a public figure. Is there anything that you miss from not having the privacy that you once had?
I think, yeah, if you go out and if you are, I don't know, you have to be just careful, because if people recognize you, then they know it's you. So you have to be careful. But I do have friends, and I have 2 younger brothers. So I try to stay normal. I am a girl, and I'm a student, and I am 20 years old, and I want to have my social life at university. I want to have my social life with my friends. I want to have my social life with my brothers, which is fighting. And so I do go to maybe cinema or go and play mini golf. So I try my best.
This is probably the worst question for a college student, but what are you thinking for the future? Will you stay in the UK? I know, I'm sorry, but are you thinking to stay in the UK or?
To be honest, for university, yes, for sure I'm staying, but hopefully if the work is not too bad and I can manage it, yes, of course I'm staying for that. But after university, I just don't know. Probably yes, but I hope that I can go back to Pakistan sometime and see my country, because it is just so hard if you haven't seen your home, your your relatives, your friends for more than 5 years. And it wasn't that I left that country by choice. It was the circumstances that forced me to leave. So I want to go back to Pakistan, and I don't know. My father wants me to study further and, like, I don't know, do masters and PhD, and he wants me to, like, stick to university. And I'm saying no. I want to maybe do some more work and explore more after I finish my PPE degree at Oxford.
And what for you has been the most challenging thing, the most difficult thing in communicating your message, would you say?
So I deliver my message at different platforms. I go and I speak at refugee camps to parents and girls. I go and I speak at schools in Lebanon and Jordan. I go and I speak at business communities. I speak at global forums. There's World Economic Forum. I go and I meet prime ministers and presidents. So I'm speaking at different events, and the challenges vary depending on where you are. And I think one of the biggest challenges is just getting enough funding for education. There's lack of funding, there's lack of investment in education. Funding towards education is declining. Every country is cutting their aid towards girls' education, and we have to keep pushing for this. And I go to a refugee camp and I try to inspire young girls and their parents, and often, most of the time, it works. Parents say, yes, we want our children to go to school, but there is not a school nearby, or there are not enough teachers, and then you say, oh, you also have to then advocate that there is enough funding, so there are schools available, there are enough teachers available, and I hope that our leaders realize that they have to invest in education, they have to provide enough funding towards education so that we don't lose this future generation, this potential that we have. The number is in millions, so we have to keep on reminding them, and I think that's one of the challenges. I think it should be easier for, like, prime ministers and presidents, because I haven't met a single prime minister who would not send their own children to school. All of them send their children to school. Their children go to university. They do not need any explanation for how important education is. But when it comes to the rest of the world's children, then they struggle a bit of how education is important. So it's something that you have to keep on reminding them.
And so we have a lot of students in the room. What would your advice be to them? How can they help your cause?
So I started speaking out when I was 11 years old. And I had no idea if my voice can have an impact or not. But soon I realized that people were listening to me, and my voice was reaching to people around the world. So change is possible, and do not limit yourself, do not stop yourself just because you are young. And often we think that you have to become prime minister or president or a CEO to be the change maker. No, you don't. You can bring change at any point, at any age you want. It is any action that you take is useful. That action can have an impact, whether it's blogging, whether it's fundraising, whether it's raising awareness through social media, whether it's doing work in your local community, whether it's doing advocacy, whether it's doing petitions. All these things matter. So once we all start doing this, we create a global movement. So I really encourage you to get involved in this movement for girls' right to education, for women's rights, for women's equality, in this movement for a better life for each and every one of us.
So you mentioned that when you started the Malala Fund, you were thinking in one way, and now it's grown, and 5 years have passed. And what do you have any regrets? Is there anything that you would have done differently?
Regrets? I don't have regrets, because this is like what I wanted to do, and I just stay focused on my plan, which was to empower young girls, to make sure that as many girls can get quality education as possible. And my dream was also to empower local advocates, just as my father and I were campaigning in Swat Valley. My vision is to inspire other local activists in their regions. So that dream is coming true as well through the Gul Makai network. So I'm very happy, but I think there's always, like, you can do even more, and when you see that there are still 130 million girls out of school, it just keeps you moving. That you have to keep on working until all girls can go to school.
Do you ever sleep?
Sleep. These days, no. Because you have to get up quite early, and I got up quite early today. And at university, I try to, but sometimes you're with your friends and you stay up till late, and then in the morning you have early lectures, and I have to walk half an hour to the lectures. So sometimes I just can't make it. You just can't do it. It's hard to get up early in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I would happily get up at 12 or 1 p.m. Sometimes I get up and I say I didn't see morning today. It's 1 p.m. Morning just is not part of my life. I don't know.